because he needs to delve into that. Now, Tree was eventually, because of the work we did to get it known, he was eventually prosecuted to some degree, but it was over $600,000 in campaign contributions from a foreign government.
Sure, and Obama, it was famous C-SPAN footage where he would just have all the Chinese leaders and generals in plain clothes around the table and just sell stuff off.
Well, remember, I was in California speaking at an engagement, and there in the hotel was none other than Al Gore meeting with a Chinese general getting an envelope full of money, and I took the picture of it, and it was released. Yeah, this stuff's coming out.
Well, you're an amazing operative. They certainly hate not having you on their side. I know you probably got to go, but Stone isn't coming on for 5 minutes. Do 5 more with us if you can. Punch out if you have. Okay, good. We'll be back talking more about that because people are about to learn about the communist generals, the missile secrets, the MIRV technology. Stay with us. Third hour straight ahead. Roger Stone's popping in too.
Thank you.
They call Richard Snowden a traitor. He's now been proven right that he did go and and others went and tried to leak info. Pardon me, you just popped my ear, CJ. Edward Snowden, yeah, I couldn't hear him. I'm teleprompter free here. The point is, Edward Snowden, of course, has been proven correct when he said, look, other whistleblowers went through and then they got persecuted when they went through Congress or went through the Attorney General's office. Well, they call him a traitor. The Clintons on record gave missile secrets, reentry secrets, so that the Chinese missiles could get off the ground, get into orbit, and hit the United States or Europe. And nobody got in trouble because Ken Starr went after sex and stuff, and now Ken Starr is a big Clinton worshiper. He always was. Let's go back to Larry Nichols of more of what's coming out and the Chi-Com connection to the Clintons. Larry?
Well, you know, Alex, one thing people need to understand, because of Bill Clinton and the work he did with the communist Chinese, and I repeat, communist Chinese government, you may not know this, folks, but our most sophisticated jet fighter, the F-18, fly-by-wire, the computer, the onboard computer that controls that jet, was turned over during Bill Clinton's administration. He gave to the Chinese the rights to manufacture that computer. Now, Alex, I got to ask you, with the potential of China becoming an enemy of this country, if they're not already, I'm talking about really, then you tell me, do you believe they didn't build a back door into those computers into our jets? Do you not believe that they can push a button and every one of our jets are disengaged? Bill Clinton did that.
That's how we've been set up. And by the way, I know the guy that helped design that computer, the head of the project, Mike Judge, who went on to do all the big TV shows. But that's just amazing.
It is. And then when you deal with North Korea, do you know where they got the miniaturization technology to be able to put a nuke, to miniaturize a nuke? Now, they haven't built a missile yet to carry it, but the miniaturization system they got from the Clinton administration.
They allowed Laurel and Hughes to transfer the reentry devices as well.
They did indeed. So, folks, when you think of the Clintons, I'm not here just talking about girly issues. Hey, guys, the girly issues was just a vehicle I had to use in that day and time to cut through the media and get something to get it out. The girl stuff was nothing. Yes, he was a womanizer. Yes, he was a sexual deviant. Yes, he did those things to Kathleen and what's her name? Broderick. Yes, he did. And, you know, it's kind of funny right now. You've got, what's the comedian's name being, he's going to have to go to trial.
Bill Cosby.
Cosby for molesting, you know, these women. Well, what do you think Clinton did? But instead of going on trial, they're running for president. And if you think, well, let's separate Hillary from Bill, that was all Bill. No, folks. Hillary ran. This is coming out in the Enquirer. I know that sounds crazy, but it's coming out in the Enquirer. Hillary led the bimbo eruption.
Well, she's on record that she honchoed that. You and others proved it. Now it's just all coming back, and they don't want it to be discussed. And Donald Trump and everybody else isn't shutting up. Our audience isn't shutting up, and they can't stop us all in 60 seconds. How do you expect they'll strike back? I'm afraid they'll kill Trump.
I don't think they will start out killing him. They still have the power of the media, Alex. and they're going to hit. Remember, they're not bound with the media by the truth. We are. I mean, we have to be able to verify what we say, and they still say we're nuts and crazy. But they're not bound by that. So they can make allegation after allegation against Trump, whether it be true or not, most of it not. And they will have billions of dollars in free media spreading the word. They're going to start out destroying Trump. Now, before I go, folks, I don't know what the name of it is with your company, Alex, but they better get your storable foods now.
Well, I know the economy's in trouble, and I know I'm getting more prepared, and that's what helps fund our operation, so it's a win-win. You can't lose. It's insurance you can eat. InfoWars Select, InfoWarsSelect.com. Thank you, Larry. We'll talk to you again next week as this unfolds. God bless. Roger Stone, straight ahead.
They're intentionally leaving the borders open in Europe, bringing in mass refugees. Among them are going to be jihadists who are setting up a future Tet offensive, Tet-style offensive in Europe. And the same thing's being done to this country.
On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. "Oh, well," she cried, "I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. "Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the vicious snake. Now she clutched him to her bosom. "You're so beautiful," she cried. "But if I hadn't brought you in, by now you might have died." She stroked his pretty skin, and then she kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. "I saved you," cried the woman, "and you've bit me, heavens why. You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die." "Oh, shut up, silly woman," said the reptile with a grin. "You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in."
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the next 40 minutes or so, Roger Stone, who the New York Times has done a cover story on, we're going to be breaking some of that down, is joining us to talk about campaign 2016. Since Trump has defended himself when they made a bunch of lies about him in the New York Times a few weeks ago and come out against the Clintons for the reports of rape and settling those charges, and since he's come out and now talked about Vince Foster, the Clintons' numbers are collapsing multi-points every week, with Trump now going way into the lead, and that's even with polls that I think are being spun. The power structure is literally soiling itself right now. So I want to talk about that with Mr. Stone and see how much he can get into in all this and briefing you without giving up too much inside strategy. But it's very, very exciting. And it is pure populism. This is the collapse of the establishment media, the collapse of their disinformation, the collapse of their ability to sell hoaxes. This is a very important time in American history, and Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States if they don't assassinate him or something else like that happens, or they don't just openly steal the election. The Democrats are in panic. Clinton says just sit back and relax, I guess like he'd say when he would rape women. That's in the news. I cannot tell you what an incredible time it is to be alive. We've at least found our fighting spirit. The sleeping giant is awakening. Now, I want to talk about strategy, the latest, what's coming with Mr. Stone. Then I'm going to get tough with him because I respect him and he always gives us straight answers. But sometimes, he just says, I'm not going to comment. He either tells us the truth or he doesn't comment. I want to know, because meeting with Kissinger, I get he says he'd meet with Kim Jong-un. I mean, he'd meet with anybody powerful and prominent. As long as he doesn't agree with them, like Haas a few months ago, and then Haas came out and attacked him a week later, the head of the CFR, that's a good sign. I'm seeing nationalism. I'm seeing him go up against political correctness. I'm seeing him expose the crimes of the Clintons. I'm seeing him double down on the Second Amendment. So I'm seeing everything I want when it comes to policies and rhetoric. I've met with globalists. I've met with people before, off record as a journalist, and then as long as what they're doing isn't criminal, I don't break that confidence. That's how you learn things. But VP for me, and I'm going to ask Mr. Stone this, I think it's the litmus test. And I'm really upset about Newt Gingrich cozying up the globalist and all the rest of it. Even if he says nice things about Trump, that guy is hooked in with the globalists big time. I think they try to assassinate Trump, quite frankly, if they put someone in like Gingrich. I mean, I'm serious. We saw what they did with Reagan. He's another George Herbert Walker Bush, in my view. So who are we looking at? Who are some of the people? And does Stone agree with that? He joins us now. I'm going to try to shut up and give him the floor to cover the waterfront. Roger Stone of thestonezone.com. You notice his The Clintons' War on Women by Skyhorse, a bestseller. We sell it, InfoWarsStore.com. You can get it at StoneZone.com or Amazon or bookstores everywhere. Notice this is kind of a blueprint now. We had Larry Nichols on, who released a lot of this 20-something years ago, saying Stone's the man to talk to. The Inquirer is coming out next week. So we're really seeing the response to the Clintons' dastardly statement, trying to imply to the New York Times that Trump had done something wrong. Those women have said they never said any of this. Just like the hoax of the rape case, it's all bull. But you will see more hoaxes. Mr. Stone, am I right?
Alex, first of all, it's great to be back with you. And as I've said many times on this program, the views expressed are strictly mine. But I think you're absolutely right that we are at an exciting time in American politics. We are on the cusp of taking our country back. And it has taken someone from outside the realm of politics, from outside the realm of the two-party duopoly, somebody who, in my opinion, is a giant when it comes to communications. I also agree with you that the vice presidential pick is going to be the litmus test as to whether the globalists can co-opt Donald Trump the way, to some extent, they co-opted Ronald Reagan. Kind of reminds me of a story that from the 1980 campaign, when Ronald Reagan had clinched the Republican nomination, and we were headed out to Greenwich, Connecticut for a campaign event. But before we did the event, Reagan had a private, off-the-record sit-down with Henry Kissinger. Now, Kissinger had opposed Reagan's nomination. Kissinger was not a Reagan fan, but more importantly, Reagan was not a fan of détente. Reagan believed that we had to overpower and shut the Soviet Union's war machine down rather than coexist with it. So the men never agreed. They met privately. I was obviously not in the room. It was just Governor Reagan, Dr. Kissinger. When he emerged from the meeting 45 minutes later and he got back in the car, I said, well, Governor, how was your meeting with Dr. Kissinger? He just shook his head and he said, God, the guy smelled like garlic. It was awful. So wow. I think you have a very analogous situation here. I've known Trump 30 years. His ideas, whether it is NATO or whether it is our fiscal situation or if it is our ridiculous trade policy, these are hard-formed personal views that no one is going to change. Not Dr. Kissinger, not the Council on Foreign Relations, not the elites of the Republican Party. So when it comes to the question of the vice presidency, I must tell you, I put my complete and total faith in Donald J. Trump. You're going to hear names on the short list here that, in my opinion, are probably not really under consideration. Names put there for the point of party unity. Names put there to create a smokescreen so that Mr. Trump can have some suspense at the convention. But I would predict this. The nominee will be a nationalist, not a globalist. The nominee will be somebody who shares Donald Trump's views on a broad cross-section of issues. Now, he has, as you know, thrown out some names and talked about a short list and a vetting process. But at the end of the day, there's only one man on the planet who knows what Trump is going to do, and that's Trump. This process is not being managed by his campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski. It is not being managed by the very able lawyer that he's brought in to assist in the vetting, A.B. Culverhouse, who I know well from the Reagan administration, a good man, a patriot. But at the end of the day, only one man's going to make this choice, and I put my full faith in Donald Trump.
That's exciting. It's also common sense. If he's a nationalist, peace through strength, a patriot, a constitutionalist, and a free marketer, Trump is going